Hey guys, it's Cece, and today I am here to let you know my TBR for the Reading Rush. So it is finally time again for the Reading Rush, which you might know by its former name, the Booktubeathon. I have participated in the Booktubeathon 3 out of the 4 years that I've been on Booktube, which is a lot, and I am so thrilled to be participating again, especially now that the name has been changed and updated to be more inclusive of the huge variety of people who participate. The Reading Rush was created by Ariel and Raylene, and all of the information that you're going to need to know is going to be in the description, and there is a ton to know. First of all, the fact that it is going from July 22nd through July 28th. Also, the Reading Rush now has a website where you can register, track your progress, post your TBR, and I am on that website, so you can add me as a friend. All of that will be in the description below. My @ is, of course, Problems of a Book Nerd. You can find me, request me as a friend. I will add absolutely all of you. And you can also look into the possibility of going to a read-in, which will hopefully be a gathering near you where bookworms can get together and read during the week of the Reading Rush. Those read-ins are going to be on July 25th, and you can look into confirmed read-ins to see if there is one near you, or you can post on the forum and see if a bunch of other people near you want to create a read-in, and you can create one of your own. More of that information will be linked down below. It'll be on the website, and it will be in the official Reading Rush announcement videos. This is a super fun readathon because there are 7 reading challenges, which I'm going to talk about, but there are also daily challenges across a ton of different platforms. There are daily Instagram challenges, there are daily video challenges. I'm going to try to be participating in as many of the daily things as possible. So with all that out of the way, let's talk about the 7 books, yes, the 7 books that I'm planning on reading for the Reading Rush. Now, in years past, one of the 7 challenges has been to read 7 books. That challenge has been taken away this year. There is not a requirement that you try to read 7 books, but since I have done that, the 3 previous times I participated, I couldn't pass up the chance to try to read 7 books in 7 days. One more time. Challenge number 1 is to read a book with purple on the cover. So my book with purple on the cover is Black Wings Beating by Alex London. I actually talked about this video in my July TBR because this is the book that my patrons chose for me to read in the month of July. So thanks, patrons. I am very excited to read Black Wings Beating. This has purple on the cover in the author's name. It is in purple, and there is purple in this design on the front cover. This is a queer YA fantasy about twins Kylie and Bryson, and they both set out on a mission to trap the nearly mythic ghost eagle for their own individual reasons. Bryson is a guy who likes guys, thus why this is queer YA, and Alex London is fairly famous for his Proxy series, which was one of the only queer YA books that existed a few years ago. So I am incredibly excited to read this book. This one is already out, and the sequel is, I believe, coming out shortly. I can't wait to jump into this. Challenge number 2 is to read a book in the same spot the entire time. So this next challenge came with the caveat that you didn't have to stay in one spot the entire time you were reading the book. It's just that even if you left and came back, you still continued to read the book in that spot. So initially I thought maybe I should read a full novel, but I was trying to create a TBR for myself for this week that was actually doable, so this is one of 3 graphic novels I'll be reading. The graphic novel I'm reading for this challenge is Genderqueer, a memoir by Maia. This is a graphic novel that I picked up at Book Expo that I am so incredibly excited to read. It's already out in the world, so you can check it out too, but it is about the main character coming to terms with being both non-binary and asexual. I have been super excited to read this book. I think it sounds fascinating. I think the art style is really pretty and engaging and fun looking, which is another reason I'm excited to read it, but I will be reading this in the same spot the whole time. Honestly, I'll probably be reading most of these books in the same spot the whole time since I mostly read on the couch, but this one in particular, same spot. whole time. Challenge number 3 is to read a book you meant to read last year. For this third challenge, I'm going to be reading Out of the Blue by Sophie Cameron. This is a queer YA fantasy that came out last year, and I bought it right after it came out and then didn't get the chance to read it. In this book, 10 days after the main character's mother dies, beings start to fall to the earth, and they are angels. Jaya's family is absolutely obsessed with the idea of finding one of these beings and getting their own miracle, and Jaya refuses to be a part of that search. And then one day, one of these beings falls right at her feet and is still alive, and Jaya has to decide what to do about that. This is a female-female romance. It is incredibly short. It was one of my most anticipated releases of 2018. The fact that I haven't read it yet is absurd, so I'm hopefully reading it during the reading rush. Challenge number 4 is to read an author's very first book. For this challenge, I am reading The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, which I am so thrilled to be reading. This was Elizabeth Acevedo's debut novel. It has come so highly recommended, and I also chose this one because it is in poetry, which is going to make it a little quicker to read during the week. This book is about a girl named Xiomara who is trying to understand how her relationship with the world has changed ever since she developed curves. She's trying to understand her mother's relationship to religion and her own relationship to religion, and then she gets invited to join the school slam poetry club, and poetry becomes even more of an outlet to understand these things that are going on in her life. Like I said, this is one of the most highly recommended books on BookTube. Everyone absolutely loved it last year. I would love to read this so that I can jump right into Elizabeth Acevedo's newest book, With the Fire on High, and I think it is going to be a perfect read for the reading rush. Challenge number 5 is to read a book with a non-human main character. This was by far the most difficult challenge to find a book for the reading rush, but what I have decided to go with is Mooncakes by Wendy and Suzanne Walker. This is another book that I picked up at Book Expo, and it is being released at the beginning of October, so look for this graphic novel then. This is about a teen witch who works at her grandmother's bookshop, and then she discovers that her childhood crush, Tam, is a werewolf, and the two of them sort of rekindle a relationship and chase down a mystery. So the main character of this book is a witch, but the love interest is a werewolf, and I thought the combination of those two things equaled non-human main character. The love interest in this story is also non-binary, which has made me incredibly excited to check out this story. Only the first chapter of my copy is in color, the rest is in black and white since this is an ARC, but it does overall look like such a fun story. It has come very highly recommended. Everyone at Book Expo wanted a copy, and I am going to look forward to telling you my thoughts when I finish it. Challenge number 6 is to read a book with 5 or more words in the title. I spent forever trying to decide between 2 middle grade books for this challenge, and the one I wound up going with is My Life as an Ice Cream Sandwich by E.B. Zoboi. Again, this is an ARC from Book Expo, and this one is being released in August. This is a middle grade book set in the summer of 1984, and it is about a young girl moving from Huntsville, Alabama to Harlem and dealing with all of the many things that means for her. This year I've been trying to get more into middle grade. I had a huge amount of success with a ton of different middle grade books in April, and so I am really excited to be reading more later in the year. I'm also really curious how I'm going to feel about this next E.B. Zoboi book. I didn't love her debut novel, but there are so many of her books that I've been dying to read and that I'm really interested in, so hopefully I'm going to enjoy this one a lot more. And finally, challenge number 7 is to read a book and then watch the adaptation. This was the second most difficult challenge to fulfill, but I think I found a book that I'm going to enjoy reading, and I'm not going to enjoy watching the adaptation, but it's fine. It's about time I watched it. The book I am reading for this final challenge is The Giver, the graphic novel illustrated by Pete Craig Russell. The Giver is, of course, by Lois Lowry and is my favorite book. The Giver is about 12-year-old Jonas, who is about to receive his life assignment, basically the job he's going to have for the rest of his life, and instead of being given a traditional job, he's instead assigned as something called a receiver, which means he's going to be working with The Giver. I absolutely adore this book, and I have been avoiding seeing the movie just for years. I have not been pleased at all with any of the promotional materials that were released for The Giver, so I just never saw it, because this is my favorite book, and I didn't want to put myself through it, but it's finally time. We're finally gonna do it. I'm going to read this graphic novel adaptation, which I've never read. I'm really excited to see the story in graphic novel form, and then I'm gonna force my way through the Giver movie, and you know what? I will have done it at that point, so I can stop complaining. But that is the final book on my Reading Rush TBR. What do you think of these books that I have chosen to pick up throughout the week of the Reading Rush? Have you read any of them? Are you highly anticipating any of them? Please let me know down in the comments below. Please send me a friend request on the Reading Rush website. I look forward to seeing all of your TBRs, and I hope that you are able to join us that week. Also, I am hosting some reading sprints on the official Reading Rush Twitter, so be sure to follow the Reading Rush. I am going to be doing reading sprints on the Reading Rush Twitter on the 27th of July from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to hang out with me, do some reading sprints, it's gonna be a possibility. I'm very excited about it. It's gonna be a ton of fun. Plus, there will be a giveaway that is happening during that hour. I hope that a bunch of you are able to be there. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!